Hi, Lloyd the CEO here. Pat the podcast editor is currently soaking up the sun in Santorini. In today's episode, I give some controversial opinions that would make most CEOs cry in their Lamborghinis. I'm a business owner and I don't value hard work. I don't value people just working longer or working harder to achieve stuff that could be achieved in a better way. And even though Dan selfishly left me on my own to spend time with his newborn baby, he still has to be centre of attention. Everyone on TikTok... phones are ringing. Sorry about that. It's Dan. So there you have it. A whole episode with nothing but Lloyd Knowlton in your ears. You're welcome. This is episode 104 of the Business Anchors podcast.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long. This jingle is slightly too long.
So Lloyd, how can you grow a successful business without feeling stressed or having to work long hours? Well, Lloyd, I'm going to be talking to me about that today, actually. You'll be talking to me about that? Yeah, I'll be talking to me because Dan's had a baby and is on paternity leave. Oh, okay, no worries. He's rubbish anyway. Am I doing it right? Is that how you do a solo episode? I'm actually a bit scared of doing this episode on my own, guys. I will try and make it as good as possible, and I've prepared far more than I normally do for these podcasts. But Dan has had a lovely baby boy, and he'll be back in a couple of weeks. But for now, you've got me talking about not being stressed at work. You're welcome. So this episode, I think the kind of message behind this episode is going to be a bit different. I feel like I'm going to get potentially a lot of love, but potentially a lot of hate as well, because the stuff I'm communicating is probably definitely very different to what most of the online business community are kind of talking about and the way they're telling you to work. So if you love this, please do let me know, because I think people are going to hate me for it as well. But to be clear, I'm talking about the way we work and trying not to be stressed and work long hours and that kind of thing whilst growing a business. But this isn't the kind of I was going to say guru shit. I probably shouldn't describe it as that, but it's not the kind of like the 4-hour work week style stuff that you might have heard, as in, do these kind of processes and you'll only have to work for 4 hours and you can have this massive successful business. That's not what we have, and that's not our plans. It's also not kind of like a set of hacks. It's not tricks for you to be able to like do worse work but charge a lot for it and not have to do much work in your business or anything like that. We're talking about trying to build a brilliant business doing really good work, but I guess going against the grain in the fact that most of the online business community are like, you've got to grow the biggest business you can as quick as you possibly can, and you've got to hire 100 people and hit 1 million turnover as quick as you can, and then 5 million turnover by year 2. And that's not what I'm talking about, basically. So we're not trying to build the biggest business possible here at Knowlton. And in this episode, I want to try and persuade business owners out there or people supporting trying to run any kind of business to kind of maybe join us on this journey and kind of think actually maybe extreme financial success isn't the thing we want to aim for, or building the extreme level of the biggest business isn't what we want to aim for. But you can make the judgment as I'm going through this, and maybe you'll want to join me on that journey, or maybe you'll think I'm an idiot. So you can let me know that in the comments as well. So I think there is a different way to grow a business, and the things that Dan and I are aiming for, and I want to communicate in this episode, we're aiming to live a relatively stress-free life, to be, happiness for ourselves, our team, and our family, to be financially secure enough to be doing the things we want to do, to have a great work-life balance, and to be clear, we still want that traditional success of money. Like, we want enough money to have a nice life. So this isn't one of Lloyd's fluffy, like, hippie things of like, oh, I just want to have a little garden and grow cucumbers and not have any money. Like, I am talking about growing a business that's financially successful as well. This isn't an either or thing. It's not like we're running a business and we're not going to make any money. We're just going to be happy. I'm talking about how you can build a business and have that traditional financial success, not sacrificing the quality of the work that you're doing brilliant quality work for your customers, but basically avoiding the really long hours, avoiding being really stressed, and avoiding hating your life. Because I think listening to a lot of business owners that have exited, they basically talk about the horrible time they had growing the business and how stressful it is, and then they have long-term health issues and that sort of thing. And I don't want that. So I guess one of the questions is, why do we value these different things? Like the norm of the online community, the business community, is we want extreme growth and extreme money. Basically, that's what we're aiming for. And we still want the money, but there's more. So we want to be successful financially, but we want to be on track with those things that really matter. So over the years, we've realized what actually makes us happy. And this is Dan and I, by the way, that I'm talking about. And I think they're the things that will make us happy in the long term. So that is, like, we're both in our 30s now. Dan's only just 30, so kind of in his 30s. But to be in our 30s and be okay financially, to go to my son's sports days, to have holidays and not worry about having that time off, and actually switching off, leaving early and going to exercise on a Friday afternoon that we do most weeks, having a positive impact on the outside world, and supporting our team to have enjoyable and fulfilling work. These are all things that we're extremely lucky to be doing at the moment and want to continue to aim for. So this is really important, I think. Before I get into the how to grow a business with this more balanced way of doing it, I think business owners should ask themselves a big question of, if you're on your deathbed, will you be happier if you've had the super yacht and the kind of lifestyle that extreme wealth brings you? Or will you be happier thinking about the positive effects you've had on other people from your business's point of view, and the time that you've had to spend with your family and your children when they're young and that sort of thing? And by the way, I think it's completely fine either way. I'm not judging people that want the financial success, but I think more people should ask the question of themselves of, if I'm on my last legs, I'm on my deathbed, will I be happy that that's what I've aimed for and the life that I've lived? Or actually, should I be aiming for something different? And for me and for Dan, it's the different side of things, of actually trying to have more balance and having a positive effect on the world, doing good work and not being stressed. So how do we do this, Lloyd? How can you run a stress-free business that makes us happy? I know that I'm so fortunate to be stress-free and very happy running and growing a business at the moment. And I know that's very rare. So I want to share how I'm currently doing this, basically. And things may change. Maybe I'll regret this in the future and I'll learn lessons. But this is where we currently are. And I want to share kind of how I'm currently doing it, because it's what a lot of people ask me about in my DMs and that kind of thing on LinkedIn. So step one, gradually make yourself redundant. And I know that sounds weird. I'm going to talk about what that actually means in a minute. And step two is give yourself a promotion. And step three is repeat those processes over and over again. And we actually do this for not just with us as a business owner, but with our team eventually, and they can carry out the same process. So the kind of busy business person, the standard business person, they will say things like, oh, you can't expect to be successful if you don't put the hard work in. And, you can't actually take holiday. You've got to be doing emails and stuff while you're on holiday. And to me, in my eyes, you don't necessarily have a business if that's what your life is like. I think you just have a stressful job that relies on your constant hard work to survive. And not even to grow or thrive, but just to survive. And the busy business owner will kind of increase money they make by continually working more and more, and sometimes improving their skills to produce more money, but normally just working more. And the way I'm talking about and why you need to make yourself redundant is introduce processes and people that decrease the time that you need to put in to earn that same money. So focus on improving the skills of other people rather than just working longer yourself to achieve the same thing. So making yourself redundant is key. And what I mean by that is, as an example, so my example, when we started the business, I was shooting and editing videos myself and doing all the financial side of the business, all of that stuff. Over time, I kind of, by finding either processes that made what I was doing more efficient, or finding people that could take over certain parts of my role, I made myself redundant from those positions. So at first, I made myself redundant from the position of video editor, and we employed a video editor. So then I was just shooting video and outsourcing the video editing, and then we hired a video editor. Then we hired more people, and I was just organizing shoots with our team, delivering the work, so the shooting, the editing, all that kind of thing. And now my role, I keep making myself redundant, and now my role is focusing on improving the business side to allow our team to deliver the best work possible. And I'm not perfect and still got lots to learn, but that's what I'm doing. So I keep making myself redundant. So I made myself redundant from video editor, and I gave myself a promotion. I made myself redundant from shooting and organizing shoots, and I gave myself a promotion. And that's what I mean by making yourself redundant. And by giving away those things to other people, or finding processes that make them efficient so they only take 5 minutes rather than 5 days, that has allowed me to be stress-free and allowed our business to work much better and deliver the same thing without me working incredibly long hours. And as I said, this is a process now that I'm encouraging some of our team members to take. So then if you have management within your business, passing on this so that they don't have really stressful lives where they have to work long hours. It's about making themselves redundant from those tasks and delegating to who they need to, so that it's not just reliant on them being there all the time, working crazy hours, being stressed, hating their lives. So I hope that makes sense by what I mean by making yourself redundant and giving yourself promotions constantly. So an example, in another person's case, you could have a one-man band. What could you be doing? You're selling toilets. Okay, just you selling toilets, and you're doing all the invoicing, and you're even cleaning the dirty toilets yourself. So first, you want to make yourself redundant from the financial side. So you're going to start using Xero as financial software. Much better processes, takes less of your time, and eventually you're going to hire an outsourced bookkeeper. So you've made yourself redundant from that to focus on other areas of the business, and you've given yourself a promotion. Then you're hiring a cleaner, so you don't have to clean the dirty toilets. You've made yourself redundant from the cleaner position, given yourself a promotion, and you're not spending your time on those things that add less value to the business, and you're not working really long hours to do everything. And that's how it starts. And eventually you'll have a permanent finance assistant, a permanent cleaner, and you'll have lots of different roles within your business, and you keep stepping up, and you can get your team to do the same. So why does that make me stress-free and actually have time to invest in other things? If you're implementing the new processes and hiring good people and training good people, that gives your business the life support it needs when you're not there. So you're preparing your business to thrive and work really well when you're not there working on it. Whereas if you go the traditional way, the busy business owner way, you will just be working longer hours to make your business grow. So you're setting the business up for failure when you're not there, because it relies on you just doing more work personally, and basically work yourself to death, in my point of view. And I think as a business owner, I know it really helps me being able to step away and being able to do like a good level of working hours and have a good work-life balance, because it allows me to step back, recuperate, have breaks, have time for my exercise, go on holidays, and that allows me to come back in and do a better job for our team here and improve things and allow us to all do better work and hopefully improve all of our skills. Now, the other side of this is away from the business. It's kind of the life side, and something that's been really revolutionary for me, and part of where I was coming from saying, like, I'm not aiming for the extreme levels of financial success that the traditional business world are aiming for, is that I kind of looked at my life and my outgoings, and I actually went through a spreadsheet because I'm this sad, but all of my costs, I looked at it and looked at what am I spending money on that actually makes me and my family happy, and what am I spending money on that isn't making me or my family happy. And doing this process allowed me to not rely on earning crazy amounts of money to have a happy, stress-free life. So an example from my life and my spreadsheet. So looking at costs for cars. So I've got friends and people that I've worked with and clients and things that are paying upwards of £500 a month for a car. If the next 3 years, it's usually something like, it can be £20,000 over the next 3 years that you'll be paying off on this car. And I've had my car for 3 years and it cost me £2,000. And I think that's something, obviously, if you like cars, it makes sense for you to spend money on cars. But when I looked at it, I know that fancy cars or even just average cars don't improve my happiness. So that's not something that I'm going to spend my money on. So in effect, over 3 years, I've saved like £18,000. That's what it would have cost to get the new version of my car rather than the 12-year-old one that I've got. And by doing that, that means that I don't have to earn that £18,000 in the next 3 years to have the level of happiness that I need. For other people, it might be Sky TV, or it might be anything that you're spending money on that actually isn't making you or your family happy. If you can cut those costs out that aren't improving your happiness, it gives you the freedom to not have to make that money in the first place. And that's a really amazing place to be, where it can reduce stress on you. And it's like a massive weight off your shoulders. I don't think this is talked about enough, because everyone's aiming to earn more money and do more, like I said, and aim for that extreme wealth. But it's amazing finding ways that you're spending money and thinking, I don't have to spend that, therefore I don't have to earn that, and that means I can work less, and I'm really happy. So that's the other side of this. And I think you can do the same with your time. And this is an exercise, I think I got it from a book, but again, noting down everything you spend your time on. And it's kind of like, what do I spend my time on that doesn't make me or my family happy? And cut those things out. And then again, that's a way that as a business owner, you can reduce stress and kind of save time. If you cut out those things you're spending time on that aren't giving you anything, you're going to be less stressed because you're going to have loads more time. I hope this has helped, guys. Sorry, this is a weird episode. And I know Dan brings a lot to the podcast and he's better than me, but I've done my best. And I'm hoping this might just help a few business owners, hoping it might be one of those light bulb moments. It's been massive for me, knowing that I want to grow an amazing business and a business that's doing amazing quality work, but not feeling like I have to keep up with the Joneses and aim for that crazy wealth and that kind of thing to make me happy. And maybe a few of you will feel the same. So thank you for listening to the Business Anchors podcast, sponsored by Adobe Express, and we'll see you in your ears next week.